What's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm a six-figure reseller on Poshmark and eBay. Today we are doing a little reseller Q&A. This was actually the very first type of video that I did on my channel, and I thought I would do them more often. I think this was like 5 months ago, but there's just so much other type of content that is out there to make, so I'm finally making another Q&A. I asked on my Instagram channel some questions, so if you are not following me on Instagram, you can go ahead and follow me on there at ReCloth Collection. So I compiled a whole bunch of the questions. There were a lot of duplicate ones or ones that went together. If I did not get to your question, I'm sorry. Definitely for next time, I'll hopefully maybe get some more like diverse questions and other ones as well. So we have some eBay questions, a lot of sourcing questions, business questions, and others of the like, so make sure you stay tuned for the whole video. So the first question is, do you pay to have a store on eBay, and do you promote each listing? And yes, I do have a store on eBay. I believe I have the one that allows me to have 1,000 listings each month, and I believe that is, you're able to put out 1,000 listings each month. I honestly have not looked into it in a really long time, and I want to say it's about $50 a month. It's very much so worth it. I think you do get a lot of other perks for having a store. If you just do not have a lot of listings at all, like under 50 or under 100, it's not completely worth it. I've never done the math on it, but I don't think it is. But if you're a reseller and you're trying to grow on eBay, I would recommend that you have a store. Always, you can just start off with the cheapest option and then grow up as you need more listings, and that is what I did. And it's a lot easier instead of just going straight into the one that's like the most expensive. Just start off with the basic plan and then you can work your way up as you need it. And then in terms of promoted listings, I do promote my listings on eBay. I promote all of them at 2%, and it's really easy to promote your listings if you have to go back in and promote them. If you just go to the listings tab on your eBay, and then it'll give you an option like above all your listings. It has a lot of like little oval things with words in it. And then it'll tell you how many you have that are eligible for promotion, and all you have to do is click that, select all of your listings, and then click promote and select what percentage you want to add, and then you have all your listings promoted. So it's very, very easy to make sure that you have those promoted. The next question is, when do you offer offers / shipping discounts? So I'll go through both on Poshmark and eBay. So on Poshmark, I have it set up within Posture VA to send out 12% offers and discounted shipping of $4.99. I think after like 15 minutes of somebody liking an item. So that's how that gets sent out, which Posture VA has been super helpful with. I used to have to send out my offers all manually all the time, so this has taken a huge chunk of time off my plate. If you don't have Posture VA, you can get 20% off your first month with my code ReCloth, and I highly recommend it even just to test it out if you've never used it before. I never honestly heard any bad things about it. Everyone always raves about it once they get into it. So I highly recommend checking it out in order to help you be more efficient within your business and take a different task off your plate. And then every other Friday, I'll do like bigger discounts. I'll just go through the bulk option because there are some items in my closet that I don't want to send out as big of offers. And then on eBay, I'll pretty much just do it sporadically through the day when I have time. I'll just check on it. And then I'll just go through the offers to likers, whatever they have on there, and I'll go ahead and send out offers that way. So I just do it throughout the day and send out all the offers on there. It's never like a huge amount as long as I'm keeping up with it, and it's super easy and simple to do on eBay. So it's never anything that feels like a lot of work or anything like that. And I think being active and sending out those offers can really help you with your eBay store and like the algorithm to make sure that you are being consistent and having sales. I've never actually ran any kind of sale on eBay. In terms of my store, my closet, I usually never even run sales on Poshmark. My items are just like too different. I like to be able to control each and every item, what I'm sending off for it. So I don't really love to run sales of any of that kind, but that may be different for you. That's just how I run in my business. The next question is interesting. It's, are you worried resellers will become obsolete with companies and their buyback programs? So if you're not familiar with this, a lot of different companies such as like Lululemon, Madewell, those are just like a couple off the top of my head. I think Free People are doing a buyback program. So in order to like compete with the reseller or the secondhand market, instead of people listing their own items, like their own Lululemon item to sell and get rid of, they can sell it back to Lululemon and get money for their items. However, all of the different buyback programs that I have seen, it is like, what the heck? Like, this is, why would anyone bring your items back to you? Like, I know like Lululemon, they're offering like $5 for shorts, I think like $10 for leggings, which already, if you just even went to the buy sell trade store, they would give you probably that amount or more. So right now I don't see a lot of competition with these specific buyback programs. I know companies are probably going to start to get a little bit more crafty and more competitive with it, so it's really hard to tell. However, I don't think within reselling it's ever going to become an issue where you have to really worry about your sales, if not until like a really, really long time. By then you'll probably be able to better think about what's going to work for you and then how to go ahead and like combat it. It's going to be something, I think it's going to be like a slow increase maybe of these buyback programs. I don't think it's going to happen like tomorrow or immediately where you have to be afraid. So I think it's going to give you the chance to figure out how to operate your business with these other programs out there. But I really can't see these companies offering almost like 50% or more for your items, which is what you can get for reselling if you were to sell the item. So I don't think that I really don't see it at least being an issue in my mind. I feel like I have other things to worry about than these companies. So that's just how I think about it. But if you have anxiety over it, I don't think it's something that you should worry too much about. We will work on it as the time comes. So I did get a ton of sourcing questions. So I'm gonna put a couple together here and just like have this all question together because the answer kind of goes together here in terms of all about like how much I source and everything like that. So the questions are, how much of sourcing is online versus in person? How often do you source and how much time do you spend online sourcing? So in terms of in-person versus online, right now it's probably like 95% online. It just takes a lot of time for me to go into a store and very hard with like work and stuff like that in order to do that. And I currently have just so much stuff to process and do that. So it's been really hard for me to get in person. So currently about like 95% has been online. Before it was maybe about like maybe 70-30. I hope it can get back to that, but currently I've just been finding so many items online that I have even limited myself right now to even continue to go sourcing. So that's where I'm currently at. It's a lot of online sourcing and there's a ton of stuff out there, which is great. And then in terms of how often I source, I'm gonna say this before I kind of put myself on a sourcing break. Before that, I source every single day. Like, yeah, pretty much almost every single day I was online sourcing. If I'm going in person before, I'd probably go like every other week, maybe like once every 2 weeks I would go in person, but like sourcing online every single day. And then in terms of that online sourcing, I probably source about like an hour to 2 hours a day if I am sourcing online. Sometimes I can not even realize how much time I'm sourcing online. It kind of wasn't until I had to stop myself from sourcing that I realized how much more time I had throughout the day from not sourcing. So yes, it is a ton of time, but it never really feels like it impacts my schedule too much at all. I honestly never even put online sourcing in my to-do list. It kind of just like comes up throughout the day. And so I fit it in when I can, and it usually happens more so in the mornings or at night, since a lot of my like processing and my work and everything like that happens more in the daytime and those like peak hours. So those are the times where I spend a lot of time online sourcing, and especially at night where it's like dark out, bedtime, I'm not really going into the office anymore at night, and so I just get like bored watching TV and I'll end up like online sourcing when I'm watching TV, and then it just like takes up so much time. So yeah, it could be a lot of time, but it's definitely worth it when I do online source. But yeah, I'd say pretty much like an hour or 2 hours, sometimes even more, but rarely is it more than like 2 hours, I would say. The next question is, what is the highest amount you would spend on one item when sourcing? And I have answered this question before in a video in the past. And honestly, I don't have like a top limit amount of what I would ever spend. I explained that in the video, but essentially, if I can make the money back that I want and I have the money to be able to buy it, then I'll spend whatever amount that fits within my business. The next question is, do you have a % threshold for how much you are willing to spend versus how much it will sell for? And kind of, I feel like that's like, it's such a gray area. There's no really black and white answer to it. In terms of like yes or no, I guess it would be no, I don't have a % threshold. as you get like higher up into like how much money you're making per item, that percent threshold really goes down. Of course, like probably I never sell anything that's under like 35% margin. Like everything's usually at least like maybe like 30, 40 or above, and that's like on the low end. Majority of the time, like I'm probably between like 50, maybe even like 40, like 50 if it's like a really higher profit item, but majority of the time it's probably around 50% or more. So I don't really think about that when I'm sourcing. I more so look at like the numbers. But in my head, probably when I'm sourcing something, I say like, oh, this is probably too much for me, for my business that I want to spend for sourcing. It's probably around, if it's not within a 35-40% margin. But that's not to say that if I could spend, you know, $1,000 on an item and make like $500, that like I wouldn't do it. There is some gray areas within that. The next few questions have to do about my business, and the next question is, how and when did you start reselling? I think I also kind of answered this in my last Q&A video, but for everyone who is new here, I started officially reselling. Like I started my business, started keeping track of numbers, and I was like, I'm doing this about like 3 years ago in 2019, like just at the start of 2019, like February, March of 2019. And essentially from how I got into it is like a little fuzzy. There's not like a specific date, because I was selling on Poshmark before. Between 2016 and 2018, I was actually getting some clothing for free from back in college, and I was selling all that stuff, but I didn't pay attention to anything. I was essentially just trying to make money from the stuff that I was getting for free. So I did not care at all. I did not pay attention to, you know, margins or how much profit I wanted to make. I was like happy with like a $5 profit. I was like, just okay, I'm selling it, it's free. I just made like $5 from it, and like that was it. So I don't really count that as like my reselling years. I wasn't like going thrifting to source more items, but it was essentially from that I realized, as I ran out of items to sell and I wanted to keep going, that I could go to like a thrift store and get more items. I had been thrifting a ton in the past for myself, for like DIY jeans that me and my sister used to do. So like I was very familiar and comfortable with thrift stores before that. And so I was like, hey, I can like go into these thrift stores and I know I can find items I can flip. Like I know people do that. I think I found the reselling community like through Poshmark, and someone made a post about like their Instagram or something like that. And I kind of like found the reselling community through that. And that's when I put like 2 and 2 together, that like there's a whole community out there of people who do this, and you can go to the thrift store and sell things. And that's kind of how I got into it. And you know, I was really busy at work at this time. I had like no time to do any extra stuff. So after I graduated, I didn't really do anything. But after I transitioned into the job I'm at now, that's kind of when I started to do all of that. And I even had a little bit more of a gray area before like 2019 and the end of 2018, where I was like just selling Lululemon, and I was making like $3,000 to $5,000 profit a month, like just selling Lululemon. But like things changed and I couldn't get the items anymore, and like items weren't selling as fast. And that's also why I decided to transition into reselling other items that aren't Lululemon, because that aspect also fell out of line. And because I wasn't really great with my accounting, when I was selling the Lululemon items, I was like keeping track of what I was buying, what it sold for, but I was like paying with my own credit card, my own money. It was not separated. And that is why when I transitioned into, I quote unquote, my like ReCloth Collection reselling years, that is why I was like really on top of everything, because I had that test period before of realizing how messed up your numbers and your own financial situation can be if you don't separate them out. And I will say, before, when I was selling that Lululemon stuff, it wasn't on Poshmark and eBay, it was on like OfferUp and Facebook. But I did start putting some of those items on Poshmark. So if you like look at my Lululemon items and like scroll all the way back, I had like a ton of like Lululemon items. But that's kind of how I got here today. It's like so weird and so fuzzy, and I've kind of been quote unquote like reselling some stuff my whole life, but it wasn't until like the 2019 year that I was going sourcing quote unquote to resell that wasn't Lululemon. So it's kind of weird, but it all worked out. And so the next question is, how long did it take you to go full time? And the answer to this is I have not gone full-time yet. I still do it quote unquote part-time. It's more of like my full-time job, but I do work as an account manager for a small health insurance company. So I do that full-time, but a lot of it is emails and calls and having like work as I go. And so I don't really have a schedule for that. So a lot of times I am able to fit in reselling if I don't have anything that I have to keep up with my actual job. I do have a lot of like reports I have to pull at specific times of the month. So those time of the month, which is usually like the middle of the month and beginning of the month. So usually the first week of the month is like crazy for me, especially with all the other stuff I have going on within like my content creation. That can get really busy, but I always kind of slow down a little bit for reselling in order to get all that stuff done. Or a lot of times too, I will do some reporting at night just to be able to, let's say I want to like photograph during the day, then I will do like all my reporting at night just so I can utilize the time how I want to. And that is why I stay in my full-time job a lot, because although I'm working for somebody else, I do have a lot of flexibility on how I utilize my time. But of course, if there's like a pressing issue that comes up, I have to address that immediately. But everything else in terms of like the reporting especially and such, I'm able to be flexible with that. And I was remote even before COVID. And so it's really easy to be able to be flexible of where I work. If I want to go somewhere else and work, even if I'm like traveling, but I'm like definitely working and not taking PTO, then that's really easy to do. And that's a huge reason why I stay with my full-time job, because I'm getting a full-time salary. It's not crazy, but I can definitely live off of it, and I'm able to run my business how it is, still make really good money from it. And because it's so flexible, I would definitely be able to increase my money and like how much I'm making within reselling, but I don't think it would be like double the money like right off the bat, because I am able to put a good amount of time within my business within reason. So the last question is, what are your business goals for 2022? And I haven't like thought about it completely in terms of specifics, but I definitely think that I want to increase my profits by 50%. If I could do that, I would be like super happy and stoked. I want to just continue building out the inventory I have. Essentially, I believe if I can continue what I'm doing and growing my inventory and still managing to find great items to sell, I do think that I will be able to hit that number, just because I have seen continuous growth throughout the years from 2019 to 2020 to 2021, and especially as like 2022 I think might be the first year, the full year that everyone is out doing stuff and they don't really have a complete COVID restrictions. I'm really excited to see how things change for that year. In terms of the content creation part of things, I don't have any new like projects or anything planned like that, which is great because I feel like that can take so much time. So I think for 2022, my goal is to really focus and hone in on my reselling business in order to continue to have that grow. That is all the questions for today. Thank you so much. If you did submit a question, if you have any questions regarding like any of the answers that I gave off, please feel free to leave them below. If you are looking for any other tools or resources within reselling based off the questions that I had answered today, you can go ahead and check out my website, reclothcollection.com. I have tons of tools and presets and free PDFs and also like all my discount codes on there. So feel free to check that out, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I put out videos every single Wednesday, and also give this video a thumbs up. I super appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.